I've been awake for days. So I decided to do something a little different in regards to our regular stuff. Normally we have like just Let's Plays gaming videos. So that we can dive into a little bit more of the talking about gaming, some theories, strategies. Let us know what you think. And if you have any ideas on like what you think of this video, leave in the comments. Let me know if I missed anything, because I feel like my research was pretty thorough in some of the items I found, and it's Kingdom Hearts. It's complicated. Everything's complicated. It's the most complicated story ever. You can't narrow anything down when it comes to Kingdom Hearts. When it comes to certain abilities on Keyblades, they're just there. Like, no one understands why one has other abilities and the other doesn't. No one even like questions it. It's just like, oh, it does that. Cool. Nice. Why? So today I just thought I'd go over some of the research and things I found and give my opinion on what probably the most overpowered and broken Keyblade is, excluding that thing, the X-Blade, the Keyblade, because it's supposedly supposed to be the Godfather. Like it's supposed to be the top-notch buddy, the big FU to whatever side has it. To cover a big majority of what I found in some characters and where they stand and where they're at, we're going to start with Sora. And apparently, according to the creator himself, Kairi's Keyblade and a couple of other Keyblades just kind of fall under the same category as Sora's, even though Kairi's is completely different looking. It's still the same. And from what I understand, according to the description, the game description, it's able to transform by changing. Oh no, this is not the game description. This is what I found out. Kingdom Keyblade able to transform by changing the keychain on its handle to unlock its true power. Oh, that is stated in the game itself. Oh, look at that. I was wrong. But yeah, you can change it. Changes its keychain, gets different abilities, different powers. So it just has a variety of different things. You got anything from like what it does in Kingdom Hearts 1, Kingdom Hearts 2, Kingdom Hearts 3, I would say is probably its best form, because whatever it turns into, it unlocks other abilities that evolve it even further. I don't know, maybe that's just what I think. So Kingdom Hearts 3 version of Sora's Keyblade is probably the best out of like his Keyblades up until that point. And then Riku's Keyblade, the going all the way back to the very beginning, Kingdom Hearts 1, Riku's first Keyblade of Heart. This Keyblade has the ability to access one's heart, unlock it further in darkness, as an example here.
Allow me to demonstrate. Behold!
Yeah, as you can see, he uses Alma Maleficent to unlock her further abilities and dark magical power, and later Sora shows that you can actually use it to transfer hearts, because like Kairi's heart was inside Sora's and Sora's used it to take it out. So it has the ability to basically mess with someone's heart by stabbing. Moving to Riku's Keyblade in the second game, The Way to Dawn, his main primary Keyblade up until game 3, because he wields his Keyblade throughout Dreamed Out Distance, Kingdom Hearts 2. I think he technically has it in Recoded as well. I don't remember. It's been so long since I played that one. That one's probably one of the worst ones I've played. But he has it through there. And he kind of has it in Chain of Memories. It's just the sword, but the Keyblade is that sword with a little wing on it. And according to Tetsuya Nomura, it's the same as Sora's. Kind of has the same kind of ability as it is shown in kind of in Dreamed Out Distance, where Riku's Keyblade can also change forms. And going kind of further on here, I know I'm probably gonna, oh well, in Birth by Sleep, everybody's Keyblade transforms as well, and then same thing with 358 Days Over 2. Yeah, that it makes sense, but I purely think that from the events of Birth by Sleep, the different Keyblades was aesthetic mainly, as in like oh, it did in all the previous games, let's allow it here too. Because, in my opinion, each Keyblade has a final form, a final state that's like the big bad, or like the top notch Keyblade for each individual character. Like, Terra has one where his is better, Ventus has one where his base is better, and same with Aqua. And well, Aqua eventually gets Eric's Keyblade, but we'll get to that one. We'll get there. And then going on to Riku's last Keyblade that he gets in the third game, Braveheart. Not a lot is known about Braveheart. All we really kind of get out of it is supposedly stronger than Weighted On, because Weighted On breaks when Riku's in the Realm of Darkness, and his upgrade, Braveheart, is supposed to match that. Moving on to Michael Rat. His Keyblade, the first one, Star Seeker. Not a lot's known about Star Seeker in Kingdom Hearts. Sora just kind of gets it at one point as well in Kingdom Hearts 2. It's mechanically shown in some of the cutscenes that he gets it when he wields the two Keyblades. At first, I thought it was that weird teleport Star ability that Mickey did, but no, that's whatever item Mickey had to allow him to do that. I think that's just another base Keyblade, kind of like maybe like Sora's moving forward. And now this one's a little interesting. The Kingdom Key D. Kingdom Key D is a Keyblade that Mickey went specifically into the Realm of Darkness for, looking, because it's the sole pure light source of light in that realm. It's the strongest form of light because of their belief of where there's pure darkness, there's always a little bit of light, and that's what that is. That Keyblade is that little bit of light in the Realm of Darkness. And so, my opinion, that it should have fairly strong light abilities, light magic, as shown from what Mickey can perform in some of the games, and like just the fact that he one-shots a lot of things with that Keyblade. And in Kingdom Hearts 2, there's lots of times where he shows up to help fight with Sora, and his light abilities and light magic in that moment are severely powerful. So, in my opinion, that Keyblade is purely just a powerful form for light magic. And moving on to Mickey's Keyblade, it gets in the third game, just like Riku's, he states that he should get an upgrade as well, the more powerful Keyblade to survive in the Realm of Darkness, which doesn't make sense because that Keyblade was in the Realm of Darkness. How can the purest light from the Realm of Darkness not survive the attacks in the Realm of... I don't know. Doesn't make sense to me. Anyway, he needs an upgrade. It's the Star Cluster. The Star Cluster. The upgraded Kingdom DD. And my assumption is it's the same kind of Keyblade. Same kind of light ability. Same kind of powers. The only difference is it can take a hit better, I guess it's stronger in the form of being able to attack, hit harder, must produce better magic overall. It is enhanced by Yensid, which in my opinion probably just makes the Keyblade lots better and stronger overall. Moving on to a little bit more of the obscure kind of Keyblades and how they run. Moving on to Roxas, he's a bit more complicated in the spectrum of it all too, because I want to say his primary Keyblades are definitely Oathkeeper and Oblivion. Now I want to move on to those two because in the scheme of it all, it seems like those are the two that he's mainly with canonically, as in like anytime there's a really big fight or anything, like really big special moment that involves Roxas, that's what he's wielding. At the end of Kingdom Hearts 3, those are the two Keyblades he's mastering and running around with. Anyway, so feel like we would touch on those more as his primary Keyblades and their ability. So no direct reference on like if they have any special abilities themselves, but seeing how Roxas fights with these Keyblades shows that it implies that it help him produce very powerful light magic, as shown by the light pillars here in Kingdom Hearts 2 when you fight him. And I'm assuming that those mainly come from, of course, Oathkeeper themselves, and then Oblivion would have very similar dark magic. And in reference to those two in Kingdom Hearts 3, you can have each individual Keyblade and both kind of perform. And then moving on to another obscure one, Axel's Keyblade. Axel's Keyblade looks like just a modified version of his original weapons. And by the way he wields it and the way it's used, it's very similar on how it works as well. So the assumption here on its ability is it can fly through the air like a frisbee fairly well, and it's how it's used in a fight. Very powerful fire magic that follows along with it, and that it can be swung and thrown around pretty religiously. The big three in Birth by Sleep, just kind of pair them all together here because they all have very similar abilities. The only one that's a little different is Terra's. Both Ventus, Aqua, and Terra, all their Keyblades are the only ones shown to allow to turn into vehicles, so they can fly through the different worlds, kind of like how the Gummy Ship helps everyone fly through. But they're the only Keyblades that I've seen actually turn into a vehicle that they can fly around with. No other Keyblades I've seen ever do that. And then going on to Terra's specifically, Terra's is also the only Keyblade I see get modified and turned into basically a giant bazooka. Shown in, I think it happens in Birth by Sleep, but it's a really big scene in Kingdom Hearts 3. Eric is Keyblade, the master of Aqua, Terra, and Ventus. Eric's Keyblade gets obtained by Aqua near the end of Birth by Sleep due to him passing away and getting killed by Xehanort. Aqua shows the ability to be able to basically lock anything with this Keyblade and perma-seal it, as shown what she does with Ventus's body to hide it from, I'm assuming, just to hide it from the 13 Sides of Darkness in general. It gets locked in Castle Oblivion, and it transforms its whole shape and can only be unlocked by the Keyblade, it seems, because it seems like a lot of people knew that Ventus's body was in there. They just were unable to get it until Aqua went there herself to unlock it. So it's pretty implied that it can create a lock that no other Keyblade can open, and only it itself can reopen. Xehanort's Keyblade, the Gazing Eye. This Keyblade was created by the Master of Masters, and he put his own eye into the Keyblade, stating himself so he can see how the future will play out, even though he already knows the future. And the only unique ability that's shown with this Keyblade was it kind of detaches itself and gets connected to all the 13 Sides of Darkness, where every single one of them end up wielding the Keyblade at some point, even though there's only the one. So it's very unique to kind of see that Keyblade itself spread apart like that, but no other real abilities or information shown on it, even though it implies that it should have very powerful abilities itself, and it's kind of just been passed down. Young Xehanort's Keyblade, the Time Keyblade. This Keyblade shows to have the ability to kind of turn into like a whip form that you can whip around, and of course it gives young Xehanort the ability to move through different time periods. Compared to back into the first game with Riku's Keyblade, that allows him to change hearts. It's the only other Keyblade that shows like a blatant difference in power, that shows that its own unique ability that other Keyblades just simply don't have. The Vanitas' Keyblade, I believe, has the ability to control the Unverse. My reasoning on that, or thought on that, is because the Unverse were created after the separation of Ventus and Vanitas, and had disappeared for a while when Vanitas was defeated. But when Vanitas comes back, he has the Unverse with him again. My assumption is the Keyblade itself allows him to control these creatures. They listen to him directly, and he just has direct control over them constantly. It doesn't really show much any other beings being able to control them as much as he does. Long run, there are other, of course, Keyblade users and like the Master of Masters, but most other Keyblades we don't get much of a description or a definitive idea on exactly what they do. And it's still even confusing up to this point, because a lot of these Keyblades we still don't even get that idea of what they each individually do, but a lot of them have their own unique abilities and powers, which I find very interesting. And in a sense, it makes me think like which one of them individually would be the strongest Keyblade. And coming to the end of it, my conclusion, it's really stupid. My conclusion of it is Sora's is just the strongest Keyblade, the original Kingdom Key. The reason why I think this is because if its ability is to change and take a more powerful form when you change the keychain on the keyblade itself, and it takes a different form. If you remember in the keyblade graveyard, there are multiple different keyblades in that graveyard, and some even showing the form that the Kingdom Key has taken in the games by changing its keychain, which implies that the Kingdom Key can almost take the form of any keyblade. You just need the keychain. And it's kind of weird because it makes me think, oh, well, maybe everybody just has a Kingdom Key and they just have a different keychain that changes it. But then that kind of ruins the aspect of, well, a lot of these keyblades were given to, handed to, found. So were they all just Kingdom Keys that for some reason got a different keychain at some point? And like, were they not created that way? Were they not expressed that way? And even then, where do you get these keychains to allow these kinds of abilities and powers, and why isn't it more exploited? But it's kind of sad. It just kind of come to the conclusion that, oh yeah, of course, the main character's Keyblade is the best, because if he can get his hands on, like, the Time Keyblade's keychain, guess what? It can do the same thing. It can mimic its powers. In which, resulting even past that, some of the Keyblade's abilities that it shows and what it can do gets pretty wild. Including, like, the ultimate weapon, for example, in Kingdom Hearts 3. By the end of Kingdom Hearts 3, Sora's ultimate weapon is showing to basically have the power to control lots of Keyblades at once, or it turns into multiple different blades, which in turn itself is insane. Excluding, like, what the X-Blade itself can do, this is a huge, like, groundbreaking kind of power that Sora is able to perform with this weapon, just for the sole fact that, going back to, like, Birth by Sleep, when Vanitas was able to ride all those Keyblades, no one can really stand against him because he just has so much going on all at once. I mean, to the end of it, it's a very confusing research, just like the story is itself. It's just very odd that none of it's, like, explained or blatantly like, oh yeah, that's just what is. Keyblades just do what they do. They don't have any specific abilities or powers besides, like, the ones that we have seen, and for some reason no one questions them or thinks about trying to find a different Keyblade to be stronger than what's discovered or what happens, because there are just Keyblades out there, considering, like, what Mickey finds in the Realm of Darkness, and considering that young Xehanort just gets the Time Keyblade handed to him. Like, I don't think the Master of Masters is constantly running around with that thing. I don't think that's his primary Keyblade even. I think it's someone else's, but it's stands to be like, what is all out there? What is more? And hopefully Kingdom Hearts 4 will have more on touch and bases and revolves to that. But end of it all, my opinion is Sora's Kingdom Key is the strongest Keyblade. It just makes sense. It just makes sense that because of its constant being able to transform, it will just take the shape of any Keyblade that you can think of. That it would just become that Keyblade. So, like, its base, of course, isn't the strongest, but the fact that it can turn any of them, yeah, makes sense. Makes sense that it would just have the ability to be the top-notch key, because it can just turn into it. It'll just become the best one. It'll just become the best Keyblade. Overall, I would like to know what you guys think. Let me know down in the comments if you think I got anything wrong, anything you want me to touch up on. If you like this kind of content or video and want more information, Kingdom Hearts is a really big game that I like talking about just in general, so feel free to discuss, and I'll do my best to answer in the comments in regards to any questions that might come up in regards to it, or if I personally miss anything, please feel free to correct me in the video. I'm trying to gain more knowledge and results to this, because I'm stumped. I don't know where to go with this. I don't know what else to do. But anyway, thank you so much for watching, guys, and have an amazing day.